It's Andy, and I'm back with my Tesla Model 3 review.
So just so you know, I'm not a car enthusiast by any means. I'm more of a tech enthusiast, and I've never owned a Tesla or an electric car up to this point. I've actually driven a 2007 Pontiac G6 the majority of my car driving life, so it's not like I'm coming from another premium sedan or anything like that. But with that being said, the Tesla Model 3 is by far the most fun and absolute best car I've ever driven. The Model 3 is Tesla's most affordable car in their current lineup. It's already the best-selling mid-size premium sedan in the US, period, electric or not, and for good reasons, which I'll go over in this video. So let me quickly go over the delivery process. Well, if you've ever ordered anything on Amazon, that's kind of how it's like ordering a Tesla. In March, I ordered my Model 3 on my smartphone using my fingerprint to pay the deposit with Apple Pay, which was a seamless experience. A month later, I took delivery of my Model 3 in Cincinnati, which was super quick and easy. I was literally in and out in less than 30 minutes. Now, in order for me to have gotten my Model 3 as soon as possible, I had to order the first production configuration, which is $50,000 at its cheapest. And that includes the $35,000 base Model 3 with the single rear motor and the standard 18-inch Aero wheels, plus the $9,000 long-range battery upgrade, which gives it 310 miles of driving range on a full charge, plus the $5,000 premium upgrade package, which includes heated seats, open pore wood decor across the dash, power adjustable front seats, steering column, and side mirrors with custom driver profile. So whenever I change a setting like the position of my seat, I can save it to my profile, and if I ever need to set everything back to the way I want it, all I have to do is press restore. The upgrade package also includes a premium audio system, a full tinted glass roof with ultraviolet and infrared protection, auto dimming, power folding heated side mirrors, LED fog lamps, and a center console with covered storage and docking for 2 smartphones, along with 2 USB ports in the back of the center console. Finally, there's a $1,000 delivery fee that's required for all Tesla deliveries in the US. Now, my Model 3 cost a total of $56,000 because I got the $5,000 optional enhanced autopilot and $1,000 for any other color besides black. And I, of course, got the beautiful multi-coat red. So at around $50,000, this is not the mass market affordable electric car that Tesla has promised. Tesla says that's coming later. When, nobody really knows yet, but right now would be a good time to subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with the Model 3 when I release more videos about it in the future. The Model 3 does not come with a key or even a key fob. Instead, it comes with a key card that is the size of a normal credit card that easily fits into your pocket or wallet. But the key card is actually the backup method. The main key is your smartphone using Bluetooth and the Tesla app. Now, I've been a big Tesla fan for a long time now, but the moment that my smartphone became my car key, that is when things started to change for me, and that's when I truly realized how far ahead Tesla is technologically speaking. And I'd be surprised if this doesn't become a standard for new cars going into the future. Your smartphone having an app for your car that basically becomes your key. The way it works is I can use the Tesla app to manage many different things on my Model 3 from anywhere. I can see its exact location, its interior temperature, check if it's charging, how long it has left, see how much battery range it has. I can turn on the heat or air conditioning. I can remotely unlock or lock the doors, open both the trunks, honk the horn, or flash the lights. But I don't have to use the app or even pull my phone out of my pocket when I'm getting in it to drive it. As long as I have my smartphone with Bluetooth enabled, the Model 3 senses when I'm near the car and it will automatically unlock when I press to open the door, and it's ready to drive when I sit down. It works the same way when I park. I just exit the car, and as I walk away with my smartphone in my pocket, the Model 3 will automatically lock itself. So no more fumbling with keys or key fobs or trying to remember your keys or forgetting your keys somewhere. This was a complete game changer because with Apple Pay and things like smart home door locks and smart garage door openers with apps, this basically made me get rid of all my keys altogether, and 99% of the time I can do what I need to do with just my smartphone. So moral of the story is don't lose your smartphone. But seriously, once you do this or once you have experienced this, you'll never want to go back to having or carrying keys around with you ever again. Now let's go over the design of the Model 3. Now this car is stunning. That's why there's really no bad color choice for the Model 3 because it just looks so good in any color, but especially red. Even before seeing the interior, which is really a jaw dropper, people immediately notice how futuristic the design is just from seeing the exterior. To give you an idea, my mom referred to it as the Transformers car the first time she ever saw it. Now, back in 2013, the Tesla design chief said that the Model 3 would be an Audi A4, BMW 3 Series, and a Mercedes-Benz C-Class type of vehicle that will offer everything, range, affordability, and performance. Now, I have to say that is a pretty accurate description. However, the Model 3 is really in a league of its own. From the lack of a front grille, to the all-glass roof, to the door handles that are flush with the body, the exterior looks very sleek and sporty. Now, speaking of the door handles, out of all the tech in this car, the door handles are the one thing I have to explain to every person who rides in the car. car. Now to open the doors from the outside, you press in with your thumb, then grab the long part as it comes out. Now this is easily learned, but it's still a bit of a hassle to open if your hands are full. But not only do I have to explain how the doors open from the outside, but I also have to explain how they open from the inside. To get out of the car, you have to press the top button on the interior door handle, which people always think is the window button. So again, it's different than what people are used to, but once you know how to do it, it feels completely natural, and that's the risk and reward that Tesla took with the design of the Model 3. Now, since there's no engine, it has a front trunk, or frunk, which isn't a huge storage addition, but it does allow you to store some things in it. But it's so cumbersome to close that I hardly ever use it. You can't shut it like a normal trunk. You have to close it gently, almost all the way, then press down with both hands at the same time until it seals shut. I think the frunk's best use is to store things that you need in your car, but you don't need access to regularly. The rear trunk is great and has a ton of storage for how small the car is. It even has a lower compartment for even more storage, so I'm really impressed with the overall amount of storage space in the Model 3. Now the Model 3 is also equipped with 8 cameras, 1 radar sensor, and 12 ultrasonic sensors to assist the car with partial autonomy now and possibly full autonomy in the future. But with all the tech in the Model 3, it still does not have a good blind spot detection system, which Elon has tweeted recently that it will be coming soon over through a software update. So hopefully that does come soon, because right now there's really no way to see if somebody's in your blind spot other than just small visual alert on the screen. Now the standard 18-inch aero wheels are a big point of discussion. Some people hate them, some people love them. I actually think the aero wheels look good on certain colors, red being one of them. Plus, not only do you save $1,500 by not upgrading to the 19-inch sport wheels, the aero wheels get their name from being aerodynamic. So they help the Model 3 get better range efficiency compared to the 19-inch sport wheels. So it's kind of like a no-brainer. Plus, the best part about this is you can pop those aero wheels off and you can reveal the actual rim underneath it, which actually looks pretty good too. I was a fan of the aero wheels ever since I saw them from the beginning, so I think that's a no-brainer. 18-inch aero wheels are awesome. Now let's talk about the interior. The view is phenomenal through the all-glass roof. The vegan leather seats are some of the most comfortable car seats I've ever sat in. The center console gives even more storage, along with 2 smartphone charging docks up front. The short front end and lack of instrument cluster gives a nice, wide, clear view through the windshield, and the back seat can sit up to 3 adults if they don't mind getting up close and personal. But as an owner, this is the view you'll see 95% of the entire life of this car. It's completely different than what you see in any other luxury sedan in this price range. Some say it's bland and cheap looking and that they miss all their dials and buttons. I, on the other hand, see a beautiful minimalist design that doesn't sacrifice controls at all, but instead moves them from hardware to software via the brain of the Model 3, the center-mounted 15-inch touchscreen display. Now, Tesla is a software and energy company that just happens to make cars, so it's no surprise the touchscreen in the Model 3 is the best out of any car right now. The majority of the screen is the map and the GPS. The left-hand side is where it shows information and quick controls for the Model 3, including remaining battery mileage, energy usage, windshield wiper controls, and of course the speedometer. And let me quickly say the speedometer being on the touchscreen is a non-issue. I don't even remember what it's like to have an actual instrument cluster. It didn't take hardly any time to adjust to the speedometer being on the right instead of in the middle. Now what's cool about the windshield wipers is they can be set to auto, which will enable the wipers to automatically turn themselves on and off based on if it's raining or not. And it works pretty well as long as you're okay with the wiper speed being a little unpredictable because they're still not perfect yet. The bottom menu has different icons for various things like climate controls and music source. Now setting the climate is a bit unintuitive at first because it's completely software controlled, but again, like most things on the Model 3, once you get used to the new way of doing things, it quickly becomes natural. Now the touchscreen itself is responsive and it's fairly simple to navigate. Now for this being the first version of this type of screen in software, I think Tesla did a good job with the layout. However, my primary gripe right now is I wish the artwork icon would swap locations with the source and the playback controls so that those are closer to the driver, which makes it easier to use the touch controls while driving. Hopefully that comes in a software update, and I believe Tesla will no doubt constantly improve the software and layout over time because they've already been doing just that. The backup camera is the best I've ever seen in a vehicle just because of how large the display is, and it comes in handy because the view out of the rear view mirror is pretty narrow compared to most cars I've driven. So almost everything is controlled via the touch display, opening the trunk and the frunk, settings for lights, even opening the glove box. The navigation system uses Google Maps and provides turn-by-turn directions and also shows current traffic conditions. And I've compared it to Waze, which is my favorite navigation app, and it replicated Waze's directions almost every single time. So it has pretty much become my go-to GPS because it's so convenient because it's built right into my car and it's up to date in real time. The trip planner is great too because when you type in a destination that is more distance than your current battery range, it will show you which superchargers you need to stop at and how long you need to charge in order to get to your destination without running out of battery. So with that paired with the 310-mile battery range, I pretty much never have range anxiety. And for those wondering if the screen is distracting, not at all for me. Sometimes I forget it's there. It's not intrusive or too bright or anything like that. In fact, it automatically adjusts brightness and switches to night mode when it's dark. And the premium sound system is awesome as well.
It's nighttime, by the way, but you can tell by the beat. That bass knocking in my whip just like some elephant feet.
It allows music playback through Bluetooth from a smartphone, but what I really love is that the Model 3 has a built-in LTE connection along with music streaming via Slack or radio, which I find myself using more than Spotify Premium, which I did not expect. But when you're playing music over Bluetooth from your smartphone, it does display what you're playing on the touchscreen, and you're able to control the playback from the steering wheel and the on-screen buttons in case you wondered about that. It also has tune-in for podcasts, which is nice, but the speakers sound so good that it's hard not to listen to music while you're driving the Model 3, even for a huge podcast fanatic like myself. Now let's talk about the steering wheel, which has a few controls for the car. Besides the two stalks on either side that have typical controls like windshield wipers, brights, turn signals, parking button, and cruise control, the wheel itself has two scroll buttons that can be scrolled up or down, pressed left or right, and clicked in the middle. The left scroll button is dedicated to audio playback and can increase or decrease the volume, go to the next song or previous song, or play and pause. The right scroll button can be pressed to activate basic voice controls. Drive to Please and Thank You on Frankfurt Avenue. Now the voice controls are useful, but they're still pretty basic. My hope is for the future that Tesla will implement software updates that make the voice controls more sophisticated and better over time, because all of our devices are going that way, in that direction, voice controlled. So it would be great to be able to say something like set cruise control to 70 miles per hour or open glove box. Now let's talk about one of the main reasons I bought the Model 3, enhanced autopilot. Now, Tesla claims this is still a beta feature, but if you're watching this, you probably already heard of Tesla Autopilot, which on certain roads will automatically steer, accelerate, and brake as needed to stay within the lane at whatever speed you set. Now, it's basically cruise control plus and works best on long highways or interstate drives. To enable autopilot while driving, just double tap down on the right stalk, and if it's available, it will pop up a message saying to keep your hands on the wheel and be ready to take over at any time. So even though you're supposed to be keeping your hands on the wheel, you can see that it steers, accelerates, and even slows down and stops by itself. But you should always stay alert and be ready to take over at any time, and it will actually pop up a message periodically if it doesn't recognize that your hands are on the wheel, and it will tell you to put your hands on the wheel to make sure that you're still paying attention. Now, to easily change your speed on autopilot or cruise control, just scroll the right wheel up or down quickly to change the speed in 5 miles per hour increments, or scroll a single notch for 1 mile per hour increments. And you can also set the length of space between the Model 3 and the car ahead using the scroll wheel's left and right directions. Now, I've used autopilot for hundreds of miles, and it's worked almost perfectly. There was one time when I initiated the turn signal, and as it was halfway through the lane change, it suddenly turned back into the previous lane like it thought there was a car in my blind spot when there wasn't anything at all. So it's definitely still improving every day, but other than that, it's worked great, and it's something that I use every single day. It really takes the mundane, boring part out of driving and lets me relax a little bit more than usual, knowing that there are two things controlling the car instead of just one. And when you have the enhanced autopilot option, the regular cruise control actually becomes traffic-aware cruise control, meaning it basically does what autopilot does except for auto steer. So on roads when autopilot is not available or when it's limited to a certain speed, I'll usually enable normal cruise control with one tap down on the right stalk, and it maintains that speed like any other car. But if the car ahead slows down, the Model 3 will actually brake, and then it will speed up again to maintain that speed, so you don't have to. So it kind of brakes and accelerates for you, and it maintains that speed. So autopilot is one of my favorite features of the Model 3, and it's something everyone seems to love. Now, it's quite sad that half the reason I bought the Model 3 was for autopilot, because driving the Model 3 is so much fun. Like, I hate driving, or I should say I hated driving before I got my Model 3. The first thing people notice when they're driving or riding in the Model 3 is how quiet it is. This is a common experience for people who have never driven or ridden in an electric car, so this is not unique to Tesla, but it's so satisfying. It's dead silent when you're at a stop. And then even when you're going at slow speeds, it's like partially dead silent. It's like zombie silent, if you will. And even driving in normal speeds, higher speeds, it's still quieter than a gasoline car. No engine, no exhaust, no transmission, no rattling parts under the hood, just blissful peace and quiet with the ever so faint whir of the rear motor at times. So after you get used to the quietness of the vehicle, the next thing that people notice is the acceleration. The Model 3 is quick, and the fast acceleration is mainly due to the instant torque that comes with electric vehicles. Now, Tesla's official specs don't say this, but many online acceleration tests show the first production Model 3 achieving 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds. Now, I know there are a lot of other gasoline cars that can go faster than that, but what really makes it memorable is the quick acceleration, the instant torque, without any of the noise like I just mentioned. So like when you go 0 to 60 in less than 5 seconds and you can still hear a pin drop, that is when the fun starts. But even though it's fun to enjoy the quick acceleration, there's sort of an ironic phenomenon that comes with owning a Tesla, because I found it to be a fun challenge to see if I can achieve better range efficiency than my previous drive based on the stats it shows on the display. So the faster you accelerate and drive it fast, the more the range efficiency suffers. So I find myself actually driving more smoothly just to see if I can lower my overall average watt hour per mile. And so far my Model 3 is getting great efficiency at an average of 234 watt hours per mile. Now the handling is better than anything else I've ever driven. The compact steering wheel is a lot smaller than my G6 steering wheel, and it has a very comfortable grip. When steering the Model 3, it feels super sporty and nimble. It does not have smart air suspension, but the ride is significantly less bumpy and more comfortable than my G6 ever was. Now, one of the biggest and best differences when transitioning from a gasoline vehicle to a fully electric car like the Model 3 is the one-pedal driving. In the Model 3, when you let your foot off the accelerator, the car actually slows itself down with automatic regenerative braking, so you barely have to use the actual brake pedal unless you need to come to a complete stop or stop very quickly. This not only saves your brake pads, but it also lets you drive most of the time with just one pedal. Also, whenever regen braking occurs, it feeds energy back into the battery so you can get better efficiency. And in the Model 3, if you do need to come to a complete stop while driving, like at a red light for example, all you have to do is press the brake pedal until the hold icon appears, and then you can take your foot off the brake and the car will actually stay stopped where it's at, which is a relatively unknown but very convenient feature. One pedal driving and regen braking definitely takes some time to get used to, but once you master it, you'll never want to go back to driving with a gas pedal. The fully electric motor really does enhance driving in a way that's really difficult to put into words. It feels effortless and obvious. It just feels right. When cruise control is enabled, it keeps a steady speed even if you're going up or down a steep hill. There's no delay in acceleration compared to my old Pontiac, which had to think a bit and slow down before it actually revved up the RPMs and struggled to keep up with the set speed when going uphill. And you know how everybody says that a car is like the worst purchase you can make because it depreciates as soon as you drive it off the lot? What if I told you the Model 3 will be better next year than it is right now? See, Tesla is constantly improving the software, and just like all the other Tesla vehicles, the Model 3 can download software updates automatically as Tesla releases them. Your smartphone and your computer have been doing this for years, downloading updates automatically and making them better. So now it's your car's turn. And as Russ would say, why not? Now let's talk about cost and savings. Now, even though the long-range Model 3 is a luxury car first and foremost, it has allowed me to not ever buy gas again, which is really awesome. Instead of visiting gas stations, I just charge my Model 3 in my garage, so it's also saving me time. The Model 3 comes with a mobile connector cable along with some adapters to charge it. A common outlet for home charging is a NEMA 1450, which I have in my garage, and it gives my Model 3 30 miles of range per hour of charge. Now, my Model 3 charges at night when my electricity is considered off-peak and is billed at 6.3 cents per kilowatt hour. My Model 3 is averaging 234 watt hours per mile, which means it uses 23.4 kilowatt hours to travel 100 miles. So 23.4 kilowatt hours times 6.3 cents means it costs approximately $1.48 to travel 100 miles in my Model 3. Now, these numbers all depend on many factors like where you live, how much your electricity costs, and your average range efficiency, but based on current gas prices, it would cost me about $11.50 to travel 100 miles in my Pontiac G6. Now, that's a $10 savings per 100 miles, and I usually drive at least 20,000 miles per year, so that's an annual savings of $2,000 just spent on fuel alone that I'll be saving. Now, this doesn't offset the initial cost by any means, but over time it will prove to be significant. Now, even though I have a few minor complaints like how the glossy center console is a fingerprint and dust magnet, which I've found a solution for and I'll be doing a video about it, and how the glove box scratches fairly easily, and the slight panel gap on my frunk, which the service center would fix if I wanted, along with the fact that I wish the app and touchscreen would show the actual battery percentage when it comes down to exactly what a car should be, the Model 3 excels in pretty much every single way. It's attractive while being fully electric with zero emissions. It's quick yet quiet. It's fast yet safe. It's compact yet comfortable. It's fun yet relaxing. It can travel over 300 miles on a single charge, yet has a nationwide network of supercharger stations for a quick charge when needed. And most of all, the Model 3 is the future, and it's here now. Here's the best way I can try to explain what it's like going from a gasoline car to a Model 3. If you're old enough, remember like 10 years ago when everybody had a Motorola Razr as their cell phone? And at the time, it was the coolest thing I'd ever owned. Until I got my first iPhone in 2009, and that is when the game changed. Think of how that felt, going to a smartphone that is completely software driven with an intuitive user experience along with a minimalist, simple design built around a single touchscreen and only a couple of buttons. Now try to envision what it would be like to have to go back to a flip phone with a ton of little buttons, no touchscreen, no apps, no over-the-air software updates, nothing. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants the Motorola Razr. It would never happen. The Model 3 is like the flagship smartphone to the electric vehicle and autonomous car revolution, and once you experience it for yourself, you may get a little sad and nostalgic for antiquated gasoline engine cars because they'll soon be forgotten in the wake or rearview mirror of what is the Tesla Model 3. So that's my review of the long-range first production Tesla Model 3. Of course, nothing is perfect, so I will be coming out with future videos about the Model 3 for like tips and tricks for owners or future owners, or if you're looking to get one, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the Model 3, I will be coming out with more videos, so make sure you subscribe, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, share it with friends and other Tesla fans. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, what you think of the Model 3, what you dislike or what you like about it. If you have any suggestions, anything that I missed, or if you want me to touch on a certain subject that I missed on this video, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. I read all my comments and I try to respond to as many as I can. So thank you for watching. It's been a long video. Thanks for sticking around. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.